Hey guys, I'm Amy Cornell and I'm your Texas broker for Front Real Estate. Wanted to talk today about the importance of virtual showings for your clients and really making sure that they are looking at properties in the most substantive way online, so that it's preventing as many unnecessary trips out into properties that are really not going to be of a lot of consideration for them. I think back in the day, my mom tells a story that she went into 100 homes with her previous realtor when I was a kid. And I say, man, that was really not great. Not a great situation for your realtor, not a great situation for those 100 sellers that you displaced while you were going through their home. And it is such a blessing now that we have so many virtual options that really prevent that. You can go and look at 100 houses in one night. You can really go through and see what of these properties are going to fit for my family and be able to whittle down to a very small subset to actually walk into. And so it gives so much power to the consumer because they are able to see so many homes. But you may need to remind them of that, hey, this is not just a shopping online for a blouse type of deal. This is a real, you are doing part of the process by looking online at these homes. You are whittling down to see what areas you like, what price point you like, what's reasonable, how are you feeling about the price point of these homes that we're going and looking at, and then how you can really best be prepared to really walk into that first, second, third home and make an offer. It's not something that you have to spend all this time going into 10, 15, 30 homes before you're comfortable making an offer, because in this market, we are seeing where you could, by the time you go into home 15, home 1 is gone. And so you missed out on those that you saw initially. So we just really want to show you the power of seeing these virtually and make sure that that you are utilizing all of the different tips and techniques within that. So I'm going to start by showing you on Chrome kind of what the different options are. So first off, from the aspect of looking online, there are a lot of consumer sites out there. We encourage all of our agents and all of our clients to start on the Front REC website. So we have a partnership with a company called Boomtown. They are a excellent advocate for consumers as far as providing really good, accurate information out on our website as far as property availability and as far as being able to see properties quickly that are coming on the market. So starting your search here makes it very easy to continually get emails with updated searches. So putting in an address, the consumer has to enter their information into the website pretty quickly, and then that will start them from a consumer side. That does give them the ability to set up their own searches, which we really felt like was very important. Our last site, we were the only ones who were able to set up the search and then push that out to them. I think it is important for the consumer to be able to look at different things. But what we also want to do is on the back side of Boomtown, when you go get into the searches, you have the ability to, as the agent, to set up a deeper, just making sure that it's more targeted search for the consumer, and then make sure that you're copied on that too, so that way you're seeing properties when they are seeing properties. It's really important to participate in this process with the consumer and not just wait for them to call you and say, hey, I'm interested in this property. Talk with them, be looking at properties with them. Send them something and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that bathroom. There's no way that would work. Or, dang, this looks like it fits all the boxes. We need to get over there right now. But making sure that you are communicating with them. This process of having all of these homes online gives the consumer so much power than they ever have before. So it's not so incumbent on the agent to know all things and be able to say, hey, this definitely is the house for you. But not participating at all either is not appropriate. So find your happy medium, figure out what that is. For me, when I'm working with a buyer, I am setting up searches so that both of us are seeing it at the same time, and it's coming into my email so that way, just like it's coming into their email, it's alerting me and I'm looking at that real time with them, and able to really act and react quick with the best quality information coming from MLS, which our Boomtown site is an MLS driven site. So it's going to have all of that right information right from the very beginning. Now, you can also search within Matrix directly. So like this is a search that I just did in Matrix. Actually, when I did it, I was looking at the active statuses: single family, less than $400,000 home, 4-bedroom, 2-car garage. And this is with a pool in Arlington Martin. And so there were only three searches or 3 available homes right now. When the consumer is getting this, it comes through a little bit different. It's not a very sexy site for them, but it is very informational, and there is a lot of information, not as much information as the agent gets by going directly onto MLS. So a lot of times I'll see that consumer site flip, and then I'll go ahead and go get into MLS to see if there's any additional information. But still, from the consumer side, they can look at a lot of it. They can look at pictures, they can look at virtual tours, they can look at documents if the agent uploaded the documents to public view. They can look at the tax information on it, like what the tax value is. And then what I love too is looking at the map feature and really looking at the Google Street View to see what it didn't look like on the day that they were listing the house, but what it looked like on just a normal day when the Google car went through. In addition to having all of the raw data about the house. So what, how many square feet, how many bedrooms, does it have a pool, all of those things too. All of that goes into, hey, how am I going to decide, is this something that I want to see or not? There are things that come up that just really indicate like, hey, this is not going to be a great house for me. So like flipping through this one, if I'm somebody who really wants an updated home, I can pretty much tell from the beginning, hey, this is really not going to feel right for me. It's got older appliances. It's got an older style of cabinetry. Again, it's fine, but it's just something that may not work for me and my family. The other thing that I'm looking at here is that I'm seeing this railing, this lower ceiling line. And so now I know from looking at this picture that this home has a variety of levels in it. If I have a handicapped parent or something like that, that I know that's not going to work for, I really don't need to waste, or from a consumer side, I don't need to waste my agent's time in going and seeing that because I know it's a no. I don't need to displace that seller for that time period that they would have to allow for me to come in and see it. I don't have to do that. So there are things that I can definitely find out from even just a basic look at the pictures that really will help with that. The other thing that I can see, hold on, I'm going to see if I can. No. All right. Sorry. My map feature is not going to let me pull that up, but let me pop over here and it's going to kind of similarly show. So I'm going to be able to really click through and see where this property lies. If it has maybe electric lines that go behind it. Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry, just all over the place. So if it has electric lines that go behind it, if maybe I have some people that don't want to be at a T of a street because they don't want headlights to come into their house. Well, then this one would not be okay, but this one might be okay. It just gives us so much information. It also gives us information like, oh, there's a creek nearby. And so maybe I need to, from an MLS perspective, go in and add a layer and say, hey, I want to see the flood zones. And so now I can see, okay, this property is outside of the flood zone, but like if I was looking at this one, man, this would be a struggle. Like maybe this would not work for us. So there are just a lot of ways that we can tell different things from MLS, also from that Google drive-by. I mean, it just is really so helpful to be able to see that. All right, what else can I see on here? Tax information. So again, from an agent side, you can see a little bit more than what the consumer side can see, but you can see what the tax rates are, or sorry, what the tax value is. You can also see what the tax rates are, in here. Sorry, there's the tax rates. And then you can also see the characteristics about the house, and then you can see the automated valuation module. Again, not that it's super important, but you can see that. You can see if it has been listed before and sold anytime recently. You can see when this person last purchased it per real property records. And then you can also see the mortgage history per real property records. So all really helpful. You can also see these documents. You can click here and it's going to have things like the seller's disclosure for you. And then on this little clock thing, it's going to have the history of what the properties are. So again, some of these are not available to the consumer, but a lot of it is. There you go. So a lot of it is really available to the consumer, and so they can do just as much looking around as you can. Now, what I find happens a lot of times is that the consumer just gets really excited about the house. They're like, this is the neighborhood that I was looking for. This is good. Let's go see it. And so I will tell you, as the agent, I'm going to stop, take some time, go through all those things, make sure that I don't see anything that is a red flag, and then I'm going to point that out to them before we ever walk in the house. It's not going to mean that they lose their excitement and that they aren't going to go see it, but I do want to at least mention it, because I don't think it's fair to the seller for us to go in and displace them from their home if we know it's a no from the very beginning. Still happens sometimes, but I just really want to help the consumer see as much as possible from the very beginning. I will tell you too, I love it when we have virtual tours to look at, because those really do help, help just really be able to walk through the house and see it's not perfect at all. So, I can't tell you like, oh my gosh, this is just the most amazing thing ever, but it does really help. Let me show you an option. So this is an example that Spencer has of a listing that's currently on the market with the walkthrough. And so it allows the consumer to really go in, and it takes some time. So, they're going to need to spend just a few minutes like, okay, well, this is when I enter in the house, like, is this okay? Like, do I like this entry, or did I want like this big grand entry? Well, that's not really going to work. Or, hey, maybe I don't love carpet in the living room. And so if that's a no, hey, I want to know about it before we ever walk in the house. But it just gives you some more flexibility to see, and really even you can see through the windows and see some cool stuff. Like, if you're like, hey, you know what, these appliances just are not going to work. But maybe you're like, oh my gosh, this is fresh and clean. I love the look. There's no wallpaper. There's nothing else. Oh, I wonder what, this looks like out on the back patio. Oh my gosh, I could totally see having relaxing coffee out here. I get it's a little weird with all the video, with all the, kind of fisheye type view. But it ultimately does give the consumer a lot more power to really see what's going on in that house without having to walk inside the house. So just know there are a lot of options. I will tell you too, from a consumer perspective, we're seeing in life and time of COVID, like, hey, will you, agent, go out and virtually show me that house, like through either shooting a video or let's say maybe shooting a video or doing FaceTime with me while you walk through. That is doable. However, I tell the consumer, look, you've got so much information online. I really want to make sure that if I'm going to do that, we're either answering a question that was not available online, something about the house, like we're just not sure how the third car garage works or something like that. I also am going to want to know, are you planning on making an offer if you like what I show you when we go and walk through? If it's something where you're just curious to see what's inside, really, I'm going to encourage you to, really think about it. And maybe the next time that we go out, we might do something, or I might talk with a listing agent and say, hey, they're interested, but not all the way, what's kind of the status of the property, something like that, because I just really don't want to spend that time and risk of the seller opening up their home for me if it's not something that is really going to be sellable. And so I want you to keep that in mind when you're helping the consumers, like, hey, we want to be here for you. We want to do all this for you, but I also have to know, like, what's the end game here? What is the plan? We've seen some virtual open houses. That's totally cool. That's where more of the consumer is more dialing in to see it, or like hopping on as a private call or Facebook Live for you if you are the agent holding that house open. Totally cool too. There's a lot of different options and ways for us to use virtual showings going forward, and that will just continue to be a bigger factor in this market is what we're anticipating. So get good at it. Use your technology. Think about how far we were. Even when I started in the business, right? We had barely any pictures. I think we could upload 3 pictures online. Like, it was nothing compared to now. We've got 36 images and all these cool walkthroughs. So just know the market is continually evolving on this. but know how important this virtual search site is, and don't discount your role in it. Don't discount the consumer's role in it. And just know that when you're listing a property too, if you don't have it tight from a virtual perspective, you are going to be potentially missing out on eyes that may not actually come into the home because they are making their decision from the information that you're presenting virtually about the home. So I hope that helped, and we will talk soon. Thanks, guys.